The Irish arrived with dreams in their pockets and Atlantic winds at their backs. Throughout this show, you'll hear the stories of immigrants.
I came to the United States in 1962. I'm here ever since.
In the early days, many of the Irish came seeking refuge from an unforgiving hunger that gripped their homeland.
Back in the 1850s, there was a potato blight. Irish were dying, starving. The only way to escape that was to get on these ships.
For those who survived the crossing, Massachusetts offered a fresh start. Many followed the coastline south of Boston, finding a home along the rocky beaches of the South Shore.
Scituate looks not at all unlike some of the coast of Ireland, certainly the west coast of Ireland, a rocky, rugged shoreline.
Today, the South Shore Irish Heritage Trail traces that journey, connecting 9 towns from Weymouth to Plymouth. Is the trail designed to sort of tell that story of the immigrant experience for the Irish?
It's not a linear narrative, if you will, but it's an experiential narrative where you can learn about different people of note who helped create or build this area.
We meet board member Patrice May at one of the stops along the trail, the Maritime Museum in Cohasset. Set inside a historic building adorned with treasures from the sea is the story of 1849, the brig St. John. An exhibit that presents a haunting reminder of the perilous journey Irish immigrants faced.
They were supposed to land on the 7th, and a big storm blew up. Captain Oliver, he found himself near Grampus Ledge, which is a really scary, rock-laden area right outside Cohasset Harbor. What ended up happening is they couldn't withstand the gales. They were within a mile of shore. They could see the shore, but the boat fell apart.
The museum honors the memory of the 99 souls who were lost with artifacts that bring their story into a stark reality.
This was indicative of all of their worldly possessions. They had to fit it in there.
They're getting on these coffin ships, as you described them,
Yes.
packed in like sardines.
Yeah.
And this is all they get.
This is all they get.
This is the captain's desk owned by Martin Oliver, the captain of the St. John. And inside, we have a writing surface which is felt, and inside he could keep papers.
Much like the captain's desk, sadly, many bodies also washed ashore. Today, a memorial stands in their honor, a lasting tribute to hope, loss, and the Irish spirit. At the Cohasset Central Cemetery, a Celtic cross, weathered by time but strong in presence, marks the final resting place for those lost in the wreck. And a newly placed bench invites visitors to sit, reflect, and honor the lives that ended before they had a chance to begin anew. Just down the coast, that immigrant story continues in Scituate, a town so rich in heritage, nearly half of its residents trace their roots back to the Emerald Isle.
Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and of the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood.
Here, another monument stands.
It's the site of the monument to the Easter Rising of 1916.
Not for a shipwreck, but honoring a fight for independence.
This monument is a testament to sort of the bravery of the Irish rising leaders and their struggle for freedom in Ireland.
Irish resilience in Scituate wasn't just about politics, it was about survival.
And then they would come to this country and they would face further adversity. No Irish need apply.
But work was found for many in a place that looked like home, gathering sea moss to sell.
It was very much the same as the moss in Ireland, and so a mossing industry arose.
The Maritime and Irish Mossing Museum is another stop on the South Shore Irish Heritage Trail, a tribute in part to the town's mossers, hard-working Irish immigrants who built a livelihood harvesting sea moss from the rocky coastline.
They knew that they had the makings of an industry here in Scituate that could be sold into the U.S. food industry. And as I say, it did flourish in that way for about 110 years or so. There were Irish mossers out in the water nearly every single day.
During the drive from town to town along the trail, there is no shortage of pubs, Irish flags, and signage. And once you land in Hingham, you'll spot an art gallery with Irish sheep and a goat in the front yard. But more on that later.
The idea of being able to explore some sites of importance to Irish Americans, it really sort of reaffirms that kinship between the two countries.
This month marks 110 years since Ireland's Easter Rising, which is marked by that memorial in Scituate. The rebellion by Irish Republicans against British rule helped lead eventually to Irish independence. And back to the Irish mossing industry, Chronicle's own Peter McKeegan worked in Scituate's mossing industry in the late 1950s when he was a teenager. We found Peter's signature on the wall at the museum where local mossers had been invited to sign their names.